What's up, basketball fans? Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Jimmy Crowther, and today we got some NBA news and some NBA rumors. The first round of NBA games has finished up, and we're into day number 2, and we got some news from that day 1, including Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. In that first game, in that return to action for Zion, he played in 15 minutes, and that's all he played, and then he sat out because the Pelicans had him on a minutes restriction. It was just announced as we went live that Zion will be on another minutes restriction on Saturday. He will not play more than 15 minutes. And if this keeps up, are the Pelicans going to be able to make it to the NBA playoffs? I'm not so sure. When you look at what Zion did against the Utah Jazz last night in those 15 minutes, he scored 13 points. Now, he didn't get a single rebound, which was really shocking to me, but he did have 1 assist, and he went 6 of 8 from the field. Had Zion Williamson stayed in that game against the Utah Jazz, because truly, the Pelicans were in the lead almost the entire time. But once Zion got pulled in the early part of the fourth quarter, the Pelicans lost the lead, and the Utah Jazz started to take over. Jordan Clarkson came in and started lighting it up in the fourth quarter. Rudy Gobert couldn't be stopped. Donovan Mitchell was getting to the bucket and making shots from deep at ease. And a large part of that is because their best player, Zion Williamson, wasn't able to do anything. Brandon Ingram hit a huge speed bump from the first half to the second half and took a giant step back in his play. And that's not a good thing, especially when you don't have another go-to guy like Zion ready to go. So it's very confusing because you've got all quarantine to get this dude into playing shape. And then all of a sudden the games are back and you're sitting him out for most of the game in crunch time. I don't understand what the Pelicans are doing here, especially coming from a point where they're fighting for an 8th seed. You don't have time to rest players like Zion Williamson. Now, as the NBA bubble returns, the best way to stay safe, stay healthy, and make sure we get basketball back is by wearing your favorite team-themed face mask at chatsports.com/NBA mask. You can get 1, 2, 3, or a pack of 4 NBA-themed face masks. Whatever your team you want, whether they're in the bubble or they're not in the bubble, you can pick one up. Sorry, Knicks fans, your team's not in the bubble right now. Maybe next year, but if you want to keep repping that team on your face, keeping yourself safe and healthy, and just wear a mask. Go to chatsports.com/NBA mask. It's the best way to do it. Let's keep talking about the Pelicans and Zion here. When you look at that battle for the 8th seed, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Sacramento Kings all now have a lead on the New Orleans Pelicans because they lost that game to the Utah Jazz. The Pelicans were 3.5 games behind Memphis for that 8th seed, but now they're 4 games behind, tied with the Spurs and also the Phoenix Suns as we film this show. Now, things can shake up. Things can continue to change with some of these records. But as we film this right now, the Pelicans are 4 games behind the Memphis Grizzlies for the 8th seed. And I don't think they're going to catch them if Zion Williamson keeps playing 15 minutes per game and sits out in crunch time. Really important that you have the number 1 pick in there. And it was really unfortunate that NBA fans got robbed of seeing him for the entire game. So, need Zion to get healthy. I need the Pelicans to really just pull their head out and just say, we're going to play him no matter what, because at this point in time, it's crunch time, baby. You got to get that team to the NBA playoffs. So with that 8th seed and the Memphis Grizzlies getting the 8th seed right now, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to make this the pinned comment, so all you got to do is scroll down and reply. Which team is going to get the 8th seed in the West? Is it going to be the Grizzlies, type G? Is it going to be the Pelicans, type P? Or is it going to be the Portland Trail Blazers, Damian Lillard, and CJ McCollum, type B? Or maybe you think the Suns or the Spurs or maybe the Sacramento Kings are going to be that team to get the 8th seed. Let me know in the comment section. Scroll down, reply to that pinned comment. Now, one team fighting for the 8th seed is the San Antonio Spurs and DeMar DeRozan. According to a local reporter, a few local reporters, in fact, in San Antonio, they're saying this summer, DeMar DeRozan and Gregg Popovich are planning on staying put. DeMar DeRozan has a $27.4 million player option this summer. And if he stays, Gregg Popovich is going to stay, and this team's going to continue to fight for the NBA playoffs. Now, should he leave, he's going to have a lot of suitors. There's going to be a lot of teams chasing DeMar DeRozan this summer, a.k.a. the Miami Heat. Watch out for them as a dark horse to sign DeMar DeRozan. But when you look at the past 4 years, DeRozan's definitely taken a little bit of a step back since leaving the Toronto Raptors. 2016-17, he was at his peak, 27 points per game and 5 rebounds. But then the next year, you see an immediate drop-off. 2017-18, putting up 23 points per game, and then another drop-off to 21 points per game. Now he's hovering right around that consistent 21, 6, and 6 mark. And that's great. That's actually really, really good. And if the Spurs can't keep him this year, all of a sudden, this team's looking real ugly. I mean, they're fighting for an 8 seed right now. They're not going to do much outside of making the playoffs and scraping by in the first round. But if they lose DeMar DeRozan, they're not going to do anything next year. They're not even going to be in the hunt for the 8 seed. DeMar is just one of 4 key free agents for the Spurs this year. DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, a solid young center, Marco Bellinelli, a sharpshooter who's been around for what seems like the majority of my life, and Bryn Forbes, who started almost every single game for the Spurs, are all free agents this summer. Or in DeMar DeRozan's case, they have the option to become a free agent. So hopefully for the Spurs and hopefully for Gregg Popovich, DeMar DeRozan stays put, because with him, this lineup looks at least a little bit better. You got Dejounte Murray, a young up-and-coming guard, along with Derek White, a backcourt that could be a lot of fun. DeMar DeRozan, and then if LaMarcus Aldridge can stay healthy and you got Trey Lyles in there at center, this isn't a bad starting 5. But I do believe if DeMar DeRozan were to opt out and the Spurs were to embrace the tank at this point in time, it might suit them better. I think it is time for the Spurs to say, hey, we're not the dynasty we once were. We aren't Tim Duncan. We don't have Manu. We don't have Tony Parker. There's no Kawhi Leonard. We're not going anywhere with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge at the front of our team. So let them go, let them walk, and embrace the tank. Get a lottery pick if you are the San Antonio Spurs. So here's a question for you. If DeMar DeRozan opts out, which I believe he should for his sake and the Spurs' sake, where should he play next year? Let me know in the comment section. Go ahead and shout out a team that you think DeMar DeRozan would fit on well. I think the Miami Heat would be a perfect team for DeMar. I also wouldn't be surprised if he ended up back in Toronto next season. So watch out for that if he opts out of that $27 million player option. But as it stands right now, it looks like he's going to end up back in San Antonio. Now, Kevin Love of the Phoenix Suns has been, of the Cleveland Cavaliers, maybe eventually of the Phoenix Suns, has been on the trade block for what seems like forever since LeBron James left Cleveland. And according to Sean Devine, if the Phoenix Suns want to make some noise, they might make a trade offer for Kevin Love this offseason. Now, Kevin Love has one of the worst contracts in the NBA right now. He's owed $91.5 million over the next 3 seasons, which is absolutely ridiculous for a guy who can't stay healthy and really is more of just a rebounding and a three-point shooter. He's not going to bring you anything on defense. He's 31 years old. Now, in Cleveland, he's still good. He is still a very good player when healthy. 18 points per game, 10 boards, 3 assists, and shooting better than 37% from 3. That's really, really solid. And at 31 years old, he could definitely make some sense for a team that's looking to get out of the lottery and get into the NBA playoffs like the Phoenix Suns are. So here's what I did. I took that idea and I made it into a real thing. If the Phoenix Suns are to trade for Kevin Love, here's something that I think could get done on both sides, and I'll explain why. The Phoenix Suns get Kevin Love and 2 second-round picks, one from Houston, one from San Antonio. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Cavaliers get the young up-and-coming wing in Kelly Oubre Jr. They also get Frank Kaminsky and Cheick Diallo, those 2 guys mainly to make the money work, and Elie Okobo, who can be a good backup guard. He's only in his 2nd year in the NBA. They also get Phoenix's second-round pick, so they send 2, they get 1 back. And let me know in the comment section and in the chat, who says no to this trade? Is it the Cleveland Cavaliers or is it the Phoenix Suns? If you think it's the Cavs, type C. If you think it's the Suns, type S. Let me tell you why I think the Cavs say yes. You get a young wing, and that's where you're weakest right now, and you get the contract off of Kevin Love. It makes a lot of sense. The Phoenix Suns, on the other hand, get Kevin Love, and they can start to actually build on something. Now, I see a lot of y'all throwing down in the comment section, Rashard Lee says the Suns, Blue Rabbit Sports says the Suns. Not a lot of people saying the Cavs say no, and I think I agree with you here because, in all honesty, if you're getting off $91 million and you're getting back a player like Kelly Oubre Jr., that's pretty darn good. We're seeing a lot of votes here for the Suns. Not a lot of people say the Cavs say no in this one. So if the Suns say yes, if they do get Kevin Love, this is a Western Conference playoff team. This is a team that can get into that 6 or 7 seed and get Devin Booker into the NBA playoffs finally. Ricky Rubio, he's been great for the Suns this year, dishing the ball at a high rate. He's making passes to Devin Booker, who's been a really good scorer. And then, now that Kelly Oubre's gone, you let Mikal Bridges start. And Mikal Bridges, take note of this now. In fact, save this video. Come back to it in 3 years after Mikal Bridges has made a couple all-defensive teams, because that's where he's going to be in a few years. DeAndre Ayton in the middle, a former number 1 overall pick, and then you get Kevin Love as your power forward. This starting 5 looks really good on paper. But meanwhile, the Cleveland Cavaliers also get a good deal out of this because it allows them to start Tristan Thompson. It allows them to bring in Kelly Oubre, who's an upgrade over Cedi Osman, and you let them all develop with young guards like Darius Garland and Colin Sexton and your brand new shiny center, Andre Drummond. Now, do I think the Phoenix Suns are actually going to do this? I don't believe so. In fact, I think trading Kevin Love is going to be one of the hardest contracts to trade, really, in NBA history. But if there is a team to do it, if there is a team that wants to make some noise that hasn't done anything in a while, the Phoenix Suns are the team to do that. So next year, looking ahead, go ahead and look into your magic ball, look into your crystal ball, and say, all right, where is Kevin Love going to play? Make your predictions in the comment section down below. Which team is going to trade for Kevin Love, or will he stay put in Cleveland? Let me know down in the comment section. Now, with the return of the NBA bubble and with the return of sports, you got to be wearing a mask. That's just the reality of the time we're living in right now. And the best way to do it is by wearing your favorite team on your face. Chatsports.com/NBA mask is going to keep that face covered. It's going to do all the necessary things you need to stay healthy and stay away from the awful big C, as we like to call it here on Chat Sports. So again, that's chatsports.com/NBA mask. Go pick up your favorite team mask today. Let's talk about another player who I really, really like, but might be getting pushed out of his former team. Victor Oladipo suffered a gruesome leg injury back in January, but now he's starting to come back a couple Januaries ago, actually. But as he's starting to come back slowly and on his own terms, people are starting to think that Indiana is pushing him to return faster than initially thought. Richard Jefferson says that something is off. Something is amiss with Victor Oladipo and the Indiana Pacers. He's being reminded of the Kawhi Leonard thing that happened in that happened in San Antonio when Kawhi Leonard didn't want to come back and San Antonio forced him to play a little earlier. Now, Victor Oladipo just in 13 games this year. He's trying to get his feet back under him. 13 points per game, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting around 39% from the field. That's what Victor Oladipo is capable of. In fact, Victor Oladipo is capable of being a 20-point-per-game scorer. But if he's not ready to come back, if he doesn't want to play in the NBA bubble, and remember, he initially opted out. But now Indiana's saying, oh, no, he wants to play. He wants to be ready to go. Could that be a bad sign? And remember, he's a free agent in just a couple summers. He's going to be a free agent in 2021. There's going to be a lot of teams chasing after him. Now, a reason that Victor Oladipo might not want to play is because he doesn't have his second-best player alongside him in Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis made an all-star team for the first time this year, but he left the bubble to treat plantar fasciitis in his foot. That is going to keep him out for the remainder of the season as the Indiana Pacers look to make a push for the NBA playoffs or continue to make a push past the first round in the NBA playoffs. So without Sabonis and without Oladipo, this team is super meh. That's the best way I can explain it. M-E-H. Just meh. You got the Holiday brothers starting in the backcourt. And I like Aaron Holiday a lot. I do. I think he's going to be a good young piece for a long time. But Justin Holiday is your starting two-guard with Victor Oladipo out. Malcolm Brogdon's probably your best scorer along with TJ Warren as the forward. And Miles Turner is your starting center. So, sure, these are some nice pieces. Do I like Holiday, both of them? Yeah, they're good pieces. But are they playoff pieces? Are they guys that are going to take you to the second round of the playoffs? No. That's why you have Victor Oladipo. So if I'm Indiana, I'm being real careful of how much I'm pushing Victor Oladipo to return. Now, basketball fans, as you're watching today, I want to make sure that you've subscribed to Chat Sports, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV, because we are ramping up our NBA coverage. We're going live on the channel all the time this summer now. We're doing some great videos, some great news and rumors, and we've got all your questions answered on this show. So thank you for tuning in, and make sure you hit that subscribe button.